Hello everyone. Hello Maxime. Hello Antonio.
Hello.
Maxime.
Hello.
You are the Group Chief Digital AI and Innovation Officer at Sodexo. Antonio, you are the Group Chief Data Officer at Sodexo. Thank you for being here at Adopt AI and to share with us how data and AI bring intelligence to the workplace at Sodexo. So of course, I think we all know Sodexo, leader in food and services, but we may not always realize what it represents. 27,000 sites, 426,000 employees, and 80 million consumers every day served in 43 countries. You operate in various environments such as schools, corporate sites, airport lounges, stadiums, etc. So I imagine that operating at that scale means managing a vast ecosystem of data, expectations, and operational realities. So in that context, how does Sodexo see data and AI as an enabler to operate in such a complex and human-centered organization?
Thank you, Hubert. So indeed, at Sodexo, we operate in a very complex ecosystem with, as you said, more than 27,000 sites. And what is into the plate of our consumer is not just about food, it's about a lot of upstream activities that will drive the success of our consumer satisfaction. It can be anticipating the needs of our consumer to serve them the right food. It can be defining the fair price for what we sell to the consumers. It can be optimizing the supply and driving cost reduction on the menus. And we can understand that each of these activities, AI can have a tremendous impact on how we drive operational efficiency and growth. On top of that, at Sodexo, we have the conviction that technology and AI will transform the way we'll operate by 2040 and driving for us some key competitive advantage. And we need to ensure that we are building that future today. And we do that with two main key activities. So first one is ensuring that the business position tech and AI as a true competitive advantage and not as a support function. And the second thing is working on the key foundations, technical foundations, and data is the main and most important one.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Maxime, for mentioning this. I think it's important to remind that data is the backbone. So, I mean, we have heard it a lot also during the CEO stage. Without a minimum level of data quality, it is losing time and money on AI because AI is required to have a minimum level of data quality. So it's important to remind it. And this is why also at Sodexo we have made a choice, which is to separate the use cases from the data in order to better accelerate on having good foundation on the data. And in order also then to accelerate leveraging what you just described, Maxime. I just wanted also to thank you, Hubert, for the introduction, because it also shows the size of Sodexo, the granularity. So Sodexo, it's about 27,000 sites. So imagine the granularity that is behind it and the complexity that it's creating. And data is everywhere within Sodexo. From the time that you make your order for ingredient till the serving of the meals, data is created and consumed everywhere. And this is why we need a strong foundation, and it is each improvement that has to be made. It's a massive change on data. So to manage this, we have our key challenge, which is how we collect the right data, how we transform it, how we make it available, in order to. For three objectives mainly. The first one being excellence in our operations. Second one being to have the right data available for quick decision making. And third one, as Maxime was mentioning, being to be ready, meaning having AI data ready for our different use cases that were just mentioned here by Maxime.
Okay, thank you. And can you share one example of how AI concretely brings value at Sodexo?
Sure. So let's take the example of how we defined our menus that are served on the sites. And at Sodexo, what does it mean? So it's the seasonal menu cycle that is basically defining what recipe will be served and produced for each food counter for the next for each day for the next 30 days, next 3 months. Sorry. And obviously, that is currently led by our central culinary team, and it's a very complex process that is about optimizing a complex matrix of data points of dozens of thousands of recipes, consumer expectation, client expectation, contractual constraints, and brand guidelines. So basically, currently, this process takes up to 30 days to our central culinary team, and in some cases, even the site teams, they need to rework this central menu planning to take into account the site expectations. So this is where we've implemented AI product that has been deployed to automate this process, and that is now taking less than a day for our central culinary team to build this menu cycle, the season menu cycle, and that is fit for purpose for the site teams. And what is important into this use case is two things. Obviously, it drives some operational efficiency in the way we deliver and build these menu cycles. But even more importantly, it gives some time to our chef to innovate continuously on the recipes that will be delivered and served to our consumers to drive maximum satisfaction for our clients and our consumers.
Yeah, and thank you, Maxime, for mentioning this. I would like to add, I mean, it's interesting here from 30 days to 1 day. So imagine the complexity of it. But now add the other complexity, and you obtain the matrix of that we are living in Sodexo, because you need also to add the regions on top of the process. You need also to add the domain, meaning finance, supply, marketing, sales. And this is how you obtain a kind of complex matrix that we have to navigate with when dealing with data. So what does it mean? It means that on data, we have to rely on really 3 key pillars. The first one is we need to have a common language. Cross entities, cross domain, cross process, cross everyone. So what does it mean also? It means that we need to have a common definition, what is a receipt, common definition, what is a site, common definition of what is a menu, in order to be able to scale. But this is not sufficient. The other pillars that we are relying on is also having a standardized way of communicating, because if you want to accelerate our data, considering the complexity of Sodexo, I mean, it's about more than 2,000 systems. So imagine 2,000 systems to connect to each other, and also to be able to communicate with our third parties, meaning with our partners and with our clients. Okay, so this is why having the common language is not sufficient, and we have the second pillar, which is to standardize the way we exchange information through the common language. And this is why we have chosen to be API first within Sodexo. And last but not least, so you have the common language, you have standardized the way you exchange the information. But then the last pillar is each one of these key data that we are considering as important for us, that have the common language and that we standardize the information, each one of these data, we need to consider them as a real data asset. In the market, we name it data product, okay? So data product, it also means that we are empowering the business to own the data from the business side, meaning to get organized and to continuously improve the data quality of the data asset. So I just wanted also, and all this data is made available, exposed through API, secured API, to be used for the AI that you were mentioning, Maxime. And I just wanted to add one thing on top of what you are saying, Maxime, because I think it's important to mention it. AI is not only used to enhance our offers, as it was mentioned by Maxime, but it's also used internally. So meaning our developers, to make all the standardization, we have trained a model on the core data model and on the data asset in order to automatically generate all these APIs that are required. So it's quite important because it is saving lots of time for the developers that spend more time on and better understanding the need that is required for AI and for the use cases, because it allows us to save lots of time. So I thought it was important to mention it, meaning it's not just used for our client and our offers, but also internally.
Thank you. Thank you, Maxime. Thank you, Antonio. So that were 2 examples of internal efficiency. So If that's okay, let's shift from internal efficiency to client value. So how do you then transform that data, leverage this operational intelligence into business impact?
Sure. So obviously, Sodexo being a B2B organization, it's very important that we demonstrate value to our clients itself, because it's a way to drive growth at Sodexo. And we leverage AI in three main type of pockets of value for our clients. So the first one is AI for client and consumer satisfaction. So coming back to the example I was just sharing on the menu, defining the right menu cycles at the site level, it's a way to fulfill the expectation of our clients and our consumers and locate the menus at the site and personalize it to what the client and consumers are expecting, to obviously drive some satisfaction on the client and consumer side, and then help our clients to retain their key talents. So first thing. Second thing is AI for operations. Obviously, we spoke about that in the previous question, but also we have built product like PowerChef that is basically predicting the demand on the site to help our chef and our operations teams optimize the food they produce to reduce the waste that we deliver, that we do each day on the sites. That is a key way to define and drive two value for our clients. First, operational efficiency, so basically driving and operating in the most efficient way and driving some cost saving for them. Second, helping them to drive their sustainability objective and help them to achieve their carbon footprint emission reduction. The third piece is everything around AI for client analytics. So we have the ambition at Sodexo to move from a food and FM service provider relationship with our clients to a strategic business partner. How do we do that? We've built a product that's called Foresight, and it's basically leveraging all the consumer information we have, so be it the transaction they've done, their preference, their consumer feedback, to build the right analytics fit for purpose for our client objective, be it driving some efficiency in the way they leverage their workplace, the quality of life of their employees, the sustainability objective. And building this right analytics positions us, Sodexo, as a true strategic partner, being able to help them achieve their business and strategic goals by the right use of AI analytics in the client conversation.
Yeah, and I'm going to make a quick transition here because our client, and it's normal, are more and more demanding also. So what we see is they're not just anymore buying from Sodexo food and facility management. They're also buying trust. So they are buying transparency. And this transparency comes also with the data, the fact that we are securing the data and the way we also share data with them. Because, they are buying also data for transparency and also assurance, also to fuel their own artificial intelligence model. So it's quite important because they need also their data, not only to ensure that we are delivering the right level of service in terms of quality, but also to fuel their own model and their own need in terms of data. I'm going to give just 3 examples that I think illustrate what I'm saying here. So, for example, by having this data, they are able and we are able to measure the food waste reduction. Another example is the consumer feedback. As I was saying, our clients are more and more demanding because we need to ensure that the consumers are happy, the employees are happy, and this comes with consumer feedback analysis and with predictive analysis, etc. And to do this, we need the right data, not only our data, but the data to be shared with the client in order to obtain this consolidation that allow to make this analysis. And last example that I wanted to take is maybe the most important one. It's the supply chain sourcing. Our client also, and we need also to be fully transparent on all the sourcing from where the ingredients are coming and all the transparency on all the supply chain sourcing. So it's also another example. So what does it mean? It means that we are also becoming a data partner of our client, and we are becoming part of their long-term strategy, because by becoming a data partner, it allows them also to a better link with all the ecosystem, their own ecosystem, with third parties and their partners.
Thank you, Antonio. I would have like a follow-up question on the way you manage this relationship with your clients. Given the diverse ecosystem you operate in, how do you ensure, just like the way you talked about the menu and you are doing with the menu, how do you ensure to leverage AI at scale, taking into account, I would say, all the different client needs and, of course, the different contexts?
So yes, it's a very important question because, as we said, Sodexo is 27,000 sites. And when we take into account the specifics of client expectation, services we deliver on the site, site specificities, we cannot produce everything we want on all the sites. We cannot basically, one size does not fit all. So we cannot deploy the similar and standard technology and AI everywhere. So first thing. So this is why we have implemented, and so basically what we want to achieve is locating the technology and the AI at the level of the site. So to do that, we are implementing a modular architecture that is basically helping us develop and deploy customized experience for our consumer, client, and operators using standard building blocks. So assembling these standard building blocks in the way so we can really deliver a customized experience. And obviously, when we take the example of the different products I've shared, Menu AI, PowerChef, Foresight, basically each of these products can either operate independently, autonomously, or being fully integrated into an end-to-end experience for client, consumer, and operators, and integrating as a building block into this target experience. So why for us it's so important and it drives some tangible impact? First, building and developing the right consumer, client, and operator experience is the best way to drive maximum adoption from day one. Because you are fit for purpose based on what your client and consumer are expecting at the site level. Second, it's to ensure that based on this customized experience we deliver, we can leverage standard building blocks, so not building customized solutions for each of the sites we operate, which is obviously a way for us to scale the technology as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I would like also to mention that everything that you've described here on the digital and AI space, Maxime, we are mirroring exactly the same on the data. It means that we are also working and modularizing what we call our data hub, meaning our unified data layer. What does it mean concretely? It means that we have blocks for the data assets, we have blocks for the API, etc., all complementary in order to serve what you've just described. And what it enables us, so it will enable us one critical thing, it's to be scalable, meaning anytime that we have new partners, new client technology, and we know that it goes fast in the world of AI, so with all this ecosystem growing, we are able to quickly and easily link and get integrated with this ecosystem because we are API first and because of this modularity that you are describing, Maxime, just right now. So as a result, what we obtain an open, scalable, and intelligent ecosystem. And I would like to end just by, as key takeaways from what you've just described here. So, first is we are focusing on key impactful use cases. So we are not doing everything, but really focusing on key impactful use cases. So Maxime has mentioned some of them. So mainly focusing on AI digital for consumer, for client, and for operators, and the well-being of our employees and the employees of our client. And all this focus is made on strong foundation with common language, core data model, standardization with API first, and considering data as a real asset for the company.
Thank you. So strong foundation to bring value to your operations, to your client, and to your consumers. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Maxime. So now if you have any questions, please feel free.
Maybe we're going to bring...
We'll bring this one to you.
Thank you very much for the panel. Two or one question better. So you have data, a strong data layer, as I understood. Good. You have strong AI layer. Good. To make AI really useful, you need also a strong semantic understanding of data behind it. How do you make it? Do you have a platform for that? Do you have some other way? How do you actually keep this semantic understanding of data to make it efficient for AI?
Maybe I can, it's okay. I'll start, you will complete, Maxime. So, yeah, you're right, you made it right. We have within our data platform, so within the data hub, I was mentioning the data hub before, we have one important capability, which is a semantic layer, okay, which is, we call it the business semantic layer, which is combining all this block of this data asset block into the common language, the business common language. And this data is available and easy to use in a secured way by not only the AI use cases, but also all the backbone, meaning, you know, for example, ERP and all this kind of backbone, the data is made available through the same semantic data layer, semantic business data layer. I don't know if you want to complete, Maxime?
No, just for us, it's obviously a key way to scale our AI use case because coming back to the CDM approach, so the data platform is driving the complexity of accessing all the data sources, and as we said, it's thousands of potential data sources, and leveraging the semantic layer to drive just one usage of data across the world on the data use cases.
But it's an important question because you are raising, because I mean, before going on this strategy, one of the problem we had is when you have to scale, as Maxime is mentioning, from one country to the other, we had to connect for each country. But now we are just connecting to the business semantic layers that you are referring to here.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for the back and forth between Maxime and Antonio to explain the use cases and then the backbone of data was really useful. I would have two questions. One for you, Maxime. What we're hearing lately is that generative AI has the potential to completely bring value by rewriting some business processes. So far you work in a very localized way. Are you working with business units and people who know the business to actually think of how you can rewrite some processes or rethink the way they work with generative AI? And the second one would be to you, Antonio, maybe to both of you. I like the way you want to become a strategic partner to your customers through data. You're bringing data products to them. Are you actually monetizing some of their data products? Because sometimes you might know their operations better than they do. Could be useful for them to buy additional analytics. Could be new revenue streams. I see some of these things are happening a lot.
So we'll take the first one. So yes, indeed. So here we spoke a lot about AI use cases, but we are also at the same time driving the Gen AI and agentic transformation at Sodexo. And it fulfills two main principles. The first principle is we've identified key priority domains where we know that will drive impact at scale with agentic and Gen AI. So it's sales and marketing, it's food operating model, so basically the end-to-end operating model from the recipe creation to the menu cycle to the way we buy these cases on site. It's the site manager experience because, as we say, 27,000 sites. It's 27,000 site managers that are operating the units, and they need to have a simplified life with agentic and Gen AI. And the first one is everything around HR and finance, so how we drive Gen AI and agentic at scale. So first principle is this one. The second one is exactly as you described. It's a mix of on-the-shelf Gen AI solution access, so we have a differentiated approach in terms of technology we leverage for that. And second piece is how we transform the business processes deeply to leverage the maximum value on agentic. So, and we have, for example, deep work on the sales teams, deep work with the food operating model teams, so we can really revisit the processes. So we fully grasp the potential and opportunity from Gen AI and agentic, knowing that it has a significant connection with the data piece on Antonio's side.
Yeah, I'll take the second one regarding the data monetization. So to say it simple, the answer is yes. okay? But we are doing it currently in a tactical approach, okay? So meaning in some key markets and for some clients, okay? And on some key important data assets. So it's not, we are not doing it like for all our data catalog, but really on some key data assets, so such as supply data assets, for example, and in specific markets. So it's more tactical for the moment, but I think progressively it will become more strategical.
And maybe if I can add on that, it's obviously the way we can monetize the knowledge we have on the consumer to our supply partners is, as Antonio said, a significant opportunity for us at Sodexo. And it's also a key opportunity for the suppliers to better have access to our consumers. So basically, on this piece, we can see a monetization opportunity. Any other question? Yeah, there is one there.
I understand you work with 27,000 sites. So we talk a lot about products and data, but how do you make sure the change happens on the ground with your people and with people that are very diverse and probably not all digital natives? So my question is about your change management strategy when bringing that to the ground.
So obviously it's an important piece at Sodexo with the number of employees we have. So when we speak specifically about the site managers, as I said, there are two things we do for them. So first one is it's part of the 4 domains where we see a significant opportunity with digital and AI, so the site manager experience. So we are working with each of the regions to gradually revisit the experience of the site manager, bringing digital and AI bricks. So basically, they could have in some case complex access to the technology. So how do we streamline this piece by putting digital and AI layers so they have easier access to the technology? So that's a first brick. And the second piece is, as each of the 4 domains have shared, we have a dedicated adoption program with communities of site manager we manage, and where we share with them a detailed type of use of GenAI solutions, specifically, so with a bank of prompts they can reuse, how they can share between themselves on how they use the right prompts on the different platforms they can have access to. So that's the conviction we have. It's basically 2 things. So helping them have a simpler everyday life and journey with access to digital and AI. And second piece is very targeted adoption and education on how they can use these solutions, and especially the GenAI piece, with the right bank of prompts and the adoption programs and community programs. Maybe last one. There is one. Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning to you. Thank you for the presentation. I'm Garrett Dalton from Savencia. You mentioned the desire to position yourself as a strategic partner, which makes a lot of sense. How do you gain, and you mentioned also the trust, what's your value proposition to your business, to the external audience, and how do you go about being this strategic partner and leveraging the data that you have?
So maybe I'll take this one very quickly because I see. So basically, and we can follow up afterwards if you want. 2 things. First thing is we are training our sales teams to better position tech and AI in the sales process. So for us, it's basically driving stickiness with clients and ensuring that we sell the standard to the clients. Second thing is that every analytics that are shared with our clients are reviewed by the operators. So basically, we ensure that the operators, they leverage this analytics to transform the way they operate. And at the same time, we overcome of the potential data quality problems we might have.